Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome to the P Pro Show. There we go. The P Pro Show. I am your primary anchor, Proud. With me in this cyberspace, the soundscape of all of the P Dota Pro information you're going to ever receive for the rest of your life is Cyphus.
Damn straight.
Okay, didn't need to curse. All right, so we've had some interesting business happen the last week or so. There was some more stuff I wanted to get into to cover last week because first show, a lot of stuff to cover. But we'll get through all the interesting new information that's popping out. Does that sound good? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I felt like, because I'm trying to stay kind of on top of things, even though I didn't watch any of Genting, which I know
we weren't supposed to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. All right. I caught wind of things that happened there as far as like winners and losers. But I felt like this week there were even more team announcements and rosters and just a ton more occurring. I guess I felt like that was behind us a little bit. Like I thought maybe things would settle down, but I guess it's still ongoing.
Yeah, there's a lot of business going on right now. Still a lot of stuff, a lot of moving around. I feel like we weren't going to get any movement from any teams that were going to Genting, but pretty much every team that was going there was stable anyways. So just because like the way that Valve does their roster changing is there's like the kick period and then there's the lock now. There's not just the one time. So the heuristic we have from last year where it's just like one crazy week and then we see everything is gone. It's more just like 1 week where everyone's out and then we get the new teams like a week later.
Yeah. I guess for the new teams, they don't really care because their odds are they're not being invited to anything. They're going to have to come up through all the qualifiers for most like Valve tournaments, right? Not necessarily for... but not for. I guess do you ever see like private independent tournaments inviting new teams like that, or are they going? I mean, they're typically going after the same rosters that like a Premier Valve event would, right?
No, yeah, most like there was a big push for more invites and less qualifier positions a couple years ago. And mostly you just invite like established teams. Like DC hasn't changed since TI. They're obviously like a team that you can invite. EG hasn't changed since the end of TI. They're a team that you can invite. Newbee, Wings, that kind of thing. But you're not going to look to like... pretty much any team that's reformed, they normally reform because of somewhat bad results, right? So it's not like they're good candidates to invite anyways. It's not like, aside from, even when EG kicked AUI after winning TI5 or whatever, right? Like they only changed one person out. It's not like an entire team disbands and then you invite, whatever comes from the like wreckage. Yeah,
for sure. I guess but what do they care, right? The new teams then they're in the same boat no matter what. So the roster lock dates, none of that really matters to them.
Sure.
So with Genting, are you cool to just delve into that real quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I watched a good bit of it, if not all of it.
It's awesome to see DC doing, Digital Chaos doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And just seeing Misery, lead that team to victory. Roland and I were talking about a bit about that yesterday. He's such a cool guy. For those who may not have heard it, we did an interview with him ages ago when Jack was still with us doing the DotPro show.
Now he's dead.
And now he's dead.
He's not with us anymore.
May rest in peace. No.
Realm of the living.
Beyond the summit. That's where
he's a bit beyond the summit. That's how we like to say. That's our euphemism. Yeah. Oh, where's old grandpa? He's beyond the summit, Timmy.
I'm sure they would hate that analogy, but I like it. But anyway, Misery's just such a cool guy. It's cool to see, and after all the controversy and difficulty that DC had with, teams kind of shunning them or leaking their data or their information from scrims. After all of that drama that was like a year and a half ago, 18 months ago. Well, that was
with an entirely different roster too, right?
Right, but I always felt like that was more targeted at... the organization, regardless. Or do you think that like Owie being on the team was maybe the big draw of a lot of that ire?
I think it was just like they were like a big NA team, and the other NA teams didn't want to like be totally like shit out of luck.
Sure. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I get that. Like, yeah, let's look out for ourselves. At the same time, it's kind of nice. I guess I would think that you'd want to, an extent, grow the NA scene. You know what I mean? I mean, there are plenty of NA pro level players out there. I mean, isn't it only a matter of time before you get more teams? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like, I was not saying I'm for it or anything.
Not
but,
justifying
I mean,
the draw. No,
yeah, you have two, maybe three classes of NA teams. There's EG, which is in a class of its own, and then you have like all these tier 3 NA teams that are all like scrabbling with each other, trying to be the first tier 2 NA team, which is basically like complexity, but people don't like respect complexity too much for whatever reason. But then you get like DC in there with like, you know, like the next almost like an EG level organization. They have like sponsors, they're like well respected, they got like a bunch of like veteran players or whatever, and then you have all these like NA people who are trying to, you know, be NA Dota goons, and they're like, well, these guys are like respectable, let's get the shit out of them.
Yeah, I guess I understand that. It definitely drives me a little nuts to have heard about it. But anyway, I guess my point is always that I felt like that was more targeted at DC as an organization rather than maybe at that like group of individual players.
No, I agree with that, sure.
So I guess just despite all of that, and yeah, despite those roster changes, it feels like DC's turned into, you know, second place at TI, winning here. I mean, they've had, let's see, one of their big notable achievements have they had?
They get like, I think 5th, 6th at the major or something like that.
Was it the major they did?
Yeah, the last major, it was like 5th, 6th.
Third, fourth, China Top 2016. Third, fourth at Boston. Second at TI. I mean, and they had a first place in the Dota Canada Cup Season 7, which is a minor one. First place at BTS Americas. I mean, you know, so they some minor victories prior to that, but like, yeah, their placement at TI at Boston Major here.
Yeah,
now,
TI and on. That's good. Yeah, second and then third, fourth, first. That's super solid. Especially because, you know, whenever you have a team that does well like this, you're super, you know, because like they weren't too incredible before TI. I mean, they were getting a lot of 5th, 6th or whatever, but they weren't like, you know, you go from a couple players who like won a TI and it's just like ragtag team, and then they just kind of all come together at once, and you're worried like, oh, maybe they're gonna do well once, but maybe they'll just like fall off. You know, like I'm worried about Adfinim. You know, they do well one tournament. But maybe that was just like a flash in the pan. Maybe they're just going to fall off. Like, you can't take anything from just like the one solid performance. But I think this proves that they have like very real staying power as a team that plays together. I mean, all teams play together, but you know, like as a cohesive unit, they're definitely like here to stay.
Before TI6, they had $100,000 in prize money earnings as a team. Yeah. And now, you look at 3.5 million for TI alone, and hell, the first place at ESL One, even as small of a tournament as it is still, you know, 125,000, still 25 grand more than they ever earned prior to TI.
Sure.
So they're not doing bad. Anyway, it was, I guess my big takeaway from Genting, with, you know, having not watched anything, was just that, hey, awesome to see DC doing their thing. Of course, we're seeing, you know, Newbee taking second place. Newbie still looking strong. Newbie always kind of looks strong, it feels like.
Newbie is honestly crazy to me, because it's like how they have such like a top tier organization they just picked up some random players, and like Newbie didn't skip a beat, same quality results, just a bunch of new nerds. Yeah.
And I think you and I talked about that the last show, like how I mean, the team, the roster that's active here, I think the player that's been on the team the longest is either K-Pi or Kaka, right? I think
KP,
or maybe both of them.
Yeah, KP.
Oh, okay, excuse me.
Yeah, it's just Yeah. What was Kaka on before this? Okay, yeah, he was on eHome and like HGT and stuff. Okay. Yeah,
so,
Kaka's like an asshole name. I mean, they've had Faith forever, so at least that's, well, I guess not forever, just a pretty long time. Yeah, he came from like Invictus. Yeah, no, he wasn't even on this team that long. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, KP and Kaka
totally
same
new.
day. March 25th of 2016 is their join date. Yeah. So, well, and you know, that's something else I think we've talked about or somewhere on DotP before, is just how crazy it is that Newbee, you know, I remember watching Newbee at TI4, and that TI4 team was not in existence as like no remnants of the TI4 team were left at TI5. You know what I mean? Like there was
no, there were. They had like a lot of similar players. They had like Moo was their mid still. I'm pretty sure, right?
Did they? I thought they had a completely different lineup.
No,
I could have sworn they did.
No, I think this is the first time they've like completely reformatted everything.
Okay, that's good to know. I could have sworn that they had completely dumped that roster. Yeah, so the TI 2014 lineup was Hao Mu, Xiao 8, Banana, and Sanxing.
Sanxing.
TI 15 lineup was Rabbit, Mu, June, Sanxing, Banana. Okay.
Yeah, so they kept their support duo and their mid. They just got June as like the replacement captain for Zhao and picked up Rabbit. Oh, Rabbit.
So, yeah.
AKA Luo.
So I guess they haven't had that chaotic of a... I mean, this is obviously the most chaotic shift that they've had in their roster lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's an entirely new roster, and they're still kicking ass, which is super impressive.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess the question I had more than anything is so now we've had our first look at, you know, how the pros are tackling the meta in 7.01. What does it look like? What does the pro meta seem to be shaping up to be? Are we seeing any major differences amongst
for
teams?
the most part, it's like the exact same as last patch. There's very little difference as far as the meta. I mean, it's a bit more fighty, but I feel like every single time we've had a patch for the last like year and a half, everyone's like, wow, this is such like a skirmishy, fighty patch. Every single time that's like, oh, you know, this one, it seems to encourage like fighting. It's every time. Am I wrong? Like that's what I hear every fucking time we have a new patch.
No, I think you're right. I think some of that stems from the fact that people, I think they feel more awkward going into a fight for some reason, or if you're paying attention to patch notes, I think you feel really awkward going into a fight. And I think that sentiment kind of sticks with you until you cross into that realm of the normalcy with a patch.
Well, I don't know. Even last patch, I would say, is definitely like very fighty. Maybe it was like a little bit. I mean, what's the illusion stuff? You know, like when you talk about a Shadow Demon game or whatever, yeah, you're like, there's a bunch of illusions here. But it was pretty similar. Like, you know, you're looking at the picks and like top bands. OD still top band, super surprising to me. I don't think OD is like that incredible this patch, but I guess it's kind of like depends on the players you have, and just the fact that his OD's interaction against Slardar and Lifestealer, where like, you know, someone engages, like someone gets amp damage and like they get blinked on and then you save them. With Astral, I feel like that's pretty instrumental to like why he's good. I feel like outside of that, he's maybe not that strong, but if you pair him with Lifestealer, he's pretty good. Also, so like just the fact that when a Lifestealer is on his team or he's against a Lifestealer, OD does really well. I feel like that's like a big part to why he's good. And maybe outside of the Lifestealer like power dynamic, he's not too incredible, or Lifestealer Slardar. But yeah, I mean, you just have a lot of like Slardar is probably one of the best heroes, if not the best, despite only having a 44% win rate this patch, and that's something we were seeing earlier, like him being played as a support, and then the patch comes and now people play him as a support way more. Like Bat Rider is really good still, even though Shadow Demon got nerfed to shit, quote unquote, like he's still good. I don't know, like not a lot changed. Like some of the top carries are like Lifestealer, Juggernaut, Drow Ranger, Luna. Mids are like OD. Sometimes like Jug is still played mid. The only difference is like Tinker's really good now, right? So like, or not Tinker, Meepo. Like Meepo's good. Like Ogre Magi is a top support. What the fuck? Like that was true before.
Yeah, the top 5 picks at ESL One Genting were Ogre Magi, Slardar, Juggernaut, Sand King, and Rubik.
Ogre Magi?
That's right. Magi?
There we go. Magi. There you go.
Gift of
like magic, it's not magic.
Magi?
I'm going to cast a magic. That's not what anyone says.
And then Rubik in 5th. And then the top 5 win rates were Lifestealer, Rubik, Sand King, Ogre, and Juggernaut.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Juggernaut's win rate was like, it's like 50%. I don't know. That's a weird statistic you're pulling there.
That's according to old Dota Buff. That's all I can tell you.
I'm looking at Dota Buff.
I'm looking at the by the top picks as well. So that
yeah, well, man, the top picks are important. But yeah, I mean, interesting things to pull out. Like the meta is kind of slow to change, and when a new patch drops, people are going to still pick the heroes they're most practiced on, right? So you can't always go by this. Be like, oh, we had a big tournament. This is the truth now. Right. So you have heroes like let's see, like Queen of Pain. Only 9 games, 66% win rate, or like 2/3 of the games she was played in, and she's really good. Like Queen of Pain is a pretty solid hero, but it's not like she was top picked or whatever. I don't think that's a result of how good she is. It's just people don't like. Not everyone is super practiced on Quap right now.
But like Lifestealer's pretty impressive. 35 games with a 57% win rate.
Yeah, and people have been playing Lifestealer forever, so Lifestealer is immediately going to be able to transfer into being like a top tier pick. Like he was getting picked a lot like last major, and it was like the same patch. It was just Lifestealer was trending up again.
So Mirana 34 games, a 64% win rate. Silencer 20 games with a 70% win rate. He's probably the most impressive with like a decent number of matches.
Yeah.
Series.
So a big thing with Silencer was that you would play him with Meepo. So like basically any game you got Meepo, you'd want to combo with a Silencer, just because when Meepo's doing all his shit and like it does this initiation, you don't want them to be able to like immediately counter initiate with an AoE stun or whatever. So you just pick up Silencer. So that's like a big part of his win rate was just that he was picked up along the Meepo like wave.
Yeah. It looks like, Meepo 7 games picked with a 71% win rate at that time.
Yeah. And I feel like probably 7 of those Silencer games were ones with a Meepo, right? So you can't really look at this too much without like looking into it.
Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. So, I mean, what did anything surprise you? Is anybody running something that kind of, that took you by surprise, that you were like, oh, wow, I never would have expected that? Or do you feel like overall everybody was just kind of running similar strats to the previous metas?
I feel like it was all pretty similar. Nothing was honestly that surprising here. TA did well. Legion did well. These are all like takes that no one was really super surprised by anything. I don't think. Ember Spirit doing, like Envy playing Ember and doing Ember things, that's fine. Ursa's really strong, it's kind of obvious. Some people may be surprised by Weaver having like a below 30% win rate, but I've been saying Weaver's a pretty shit carry for a pretty long time now. So that wasn't super surprising to me. But as a support, he's still very cool. But yeah, I don't think that Weaver carry is that good. And I know I'm in like the minority on that, but I feel a little vindicated with this like 30% or what is it, like 29% win rate on Weaver? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. 29.41 over 17 games. 17 games too.
Yeah.
So did anybody or any heroes, did we see any heroes in a role that was kind of surprising? Anything like that?
No, it's just more Slider support. That's fine. Weaver support being way more common, especially with the Drow. That's fine. People don't know how the fuck to play Lone Druid still. That's fine. I'm surprised we didn't see maybe a bit more Zeus, but it's going to take time to transition over to Zeus. And Zeus now that Zeus doesn't like fuck over every Blink Dagger, being in a meta against like Lifestealer and Slider, like you don't want to be a fucking Zeus, dude. Like if Slider, Lifestealer, Blink crushes you and you're Zeus, like what the what's your what do you die. You don't do shit. Dead. You're dead. Lino 0% win rate across two whole games, so I'm sure Sam's going to be happy about that.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
And the Wraith King wins there was like 2 Wraith King is so bad now, but what did it win against? Lone Druid and some other random ass game with a Wraith King in it. I think this is like Wraith King support.
Why is Wraith so bad these days?
There's just no reason to pick him. Like he was bad before, but there's just like no reason to play Wraith King. Like there just isn't. The last time I played him, it was against like a Juggernaut, and he built a Diffusal, and like even when I was like level 18 and shit, he could still just burn my mana pool down just because his attack speed is so high. It was wild. It was just, I don't know, man. Wraith King just fucking sucks.
So I see no pickups for Death Prophet. Was she pulled from? She wasn't pulled from Captains, was she? Who was pulled from Captains recently?
Treant.
But he's back in.
Treant Protector?
Yeah, he's back in Captain's mode.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
in fact, they have. Oh, he's got one game.
Okay, and he lost. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I thought that was just like he just showed up there by some error. Yeah, I don't remember who else is not in, honestly. Monkey King's not, can tell you that.
Yeah, but no pick on Death Prophet, no pick on Troll. Is Techie? No pick on Techies or Brewmaster.
Yeah,
either.
Techies isn't in there. I'm not sure about Brew. Even if he was, I don't think Brew would get picked.
Yeah, well, I mean, so why? I feel like for a while we saw Death Prophet come make a little resurgence, but I guess she's no good anymore.
There's just a lot of good mids right now, and Death Prophet is especially not good against amp damage. She'll just get torn down. And she was like pretty good. She was good against like Alchemist. Alchemist wasn't really big this patch, but I don't know. There's just a ton of good mids, man. Like I don't know. I guess she's not too bad comparison to like OD, but I mean there's like OD. If people, because people, there are a lot of mids that are much better than they were last patch, and the only thing stopping them from getting picked is people spending the time to practice on them, right? Like Queen of Pain, I think she's definitely good. I think people are overblowing her a little bit, especially when like, whoa, you get 25, and then like, okay, you're step one, get to level 25 is not a good fucking plan. Let me put it like that. And get a blade mail, and then you don't die. Like that's not. But she's definitely a good hero, and she has a 60, 2/3, 2 out of 3 games or wins on her. But she only has 9 games, right? And then you look at Death Prophet. Death Prophet's not much better, if at all. And there are other heroes that are better. So why would I spend the time practicing Death Prophet, like trying out some new DP build or whatever, when I could instead try like a new cool hero?
Yeah, for sure. So, Aaron, anything else you want to add about Genting before we move on?
Visage, 2 games, 100% lose rate, or loss rate, 100% defeat rate. Anyway, Visage was totally fucking hyped, gonna be insane. As soon as Visage started doing well, immediately nerfed to the fucking ground, and 0 games picked in the first tournament. God bless Visage. Your 5 minutes of being viable were beautiful.
That's so sad.
Dude, Skrunk is so salty about Visage. Like, Skrunk's Visage is fucking awesome, man. But now it's just, like, every time I see a Visage, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna fucking, like, Earth Spike these 2 birds and they're dead. It's so stupid. That hero is so fucking bad now, man.
Yeah, that's a shame to hear. I do remember everybody talking about how, oh yeah, Visage is back. Visage is gonna be back. I didn't realize that he'd gotten nerfed that hard. Like,
they took 250 health or whatever, like, off the birds at almost all levels. I think that's what they did. They nerfed the health of the birds. I can check real quick because someone's gonna listen to this and be like, that's actually not what they did. Oh, like, okay, thank you. All right.
But anyway, all right. While you're looking that up, so we're gonna be talking about a little more Newbee here pretty soon too, right?
That's a fact, yes. Well, let's talk about the results of Genting, right? Like, that's the real money. No one wants to hear my hot takes on all these fucking heroes.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
You want me to do that?
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing about me is when I'm on show or when I'm listening to shows, I will immediately, whenever someone says anything wrong, I'm just like, yo, that's actually not what happened.
All right,
so enough. Okay, yes. All right. So it went down 200 health at level 1, which is like they lost like fucking what is this? 2/5 of their health. I mean, that's pretty simple math. Like almost half of their health at level 1. Big fucking deal. If you think about your hero losing half of their health, that's not good. And then they're down 250 health, so that's actually like down 50% of their health at level 2. They only have 500, and then they only have 700 once you're 18. And 700 health at level 18 is not a lot of health. So Visage is just shit now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yep. Anyway, all right, we can go on now.
Yeah, I'm gonna run through. So 7th and 8th place, Fnatic and Warriors Gaming Unity.
That makes sense. Warriors is good. I honestly like that team a lot. They did really well. I think I said earlier at the qualifiers for last TI and last major. So they're getting up there. It's cool to see like a relatively unknown organization being like consistently, doing okay. They took a couple games off of like, I think they traded games with Execration pretty well, and Execration, like, at least the games maybe like didn't show up in games, but they did have a really good performance. So I'm looking forward to more from Wings, or not Wings, Warriors. And Fnatic is like totally new roster, and they have like Yamate, who is just like a stand-in right now. So whatever, they played fine.
Yeah. Fifth through sixth place, we had Team NP and Execration. Execration was kind of a little bit of if not like a how to say this, like a stats favorite, but like a crowd favorite, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're both like Warriors, Execration, Fnatic, all C teams. So obviously the C tournament is going to like the C teams, right? That just makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. So then coming in third and fourth, we had Virtus Pro and Wings. So Virtus Pro lost in the semifinals to Digital Chaos.
Just gloss over NP. You know this is my favorite team.
Oh, no, I did not know that NP was your favorite team.
Any team with Envy on it is always my favorite team. I am the biggest Envy fanboy you will ever meet. That's actually not true. I'm sure they're much better.
Why are you an Envy fanboy?
Because he's great, man. Everything about him is fantastic. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He just fucking tries. And, like, he's never down and out. If Envy doesn't win a TI, like, before he dies, I'm just going to be, like, very sad for, like, a solid afternoon.
Owie's on that team too, right?
I like Owie a lot too. I didn't care too much for MSS, but I like him a lot more now. SVG is cool, and man, 1437 is like the cutest boy in all of esports. Let's be real.
Okay, you hold up. I will go take a peek. All right, yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, like, wearing a Team Secret shirt in this.
Physically, I just meant like he's just great. Okay. Like his name stood for "I love you forever." Like that's so adorable. How could you not love T-Bone?
I did not know that.
Like the first time I majorly started watching esports, or not esports, I've been watching that shit for a long time. The first time I was like really getting into Dota, and this was like after TI3 when I was just kind of watching it for enjoyment or whatever. But when I was like really following it, trying to like understand what was going on, was I was watching these Chinese tournaments that had Winter and 1437. And 1437's name is Theban. And Winter, whenever he talked about him, he called him T-Bun. It sounded like TEA, like the drink tea bun. And that's why you see 1437 referred to as T-Bun a lot. Because like a lot of people watched that, and it was just like top tier analysis from 1437 and Winter. It was just like, what do you think about this T-Bun? And I was like, oh, T-Bun. Anyway, that's part of why I love 1437. He's a great communicator. He's great. I love him.
All right. So third and fourth, Virtus Pro got knocked out in the semifinals by Digital Chaos. I mean, you know, obviously DC went on to take the whole thing. Did you get a chance to see that series? I mean, because I thought I want to say that I heard Virtus Pro's name pop up as like a favorite going into this tournament at one point.
Yeah, so VP has gotten hyped as like the best team several times. Like some of their performances are so absurdly dominant that you're just like, man, they're so good. And then you talk to them like, who can beat you? And they're like, EG, and who aren't even at this tournament, so they're just like no one at this tournament, and then they just like lose. I don't know. I feel like they get a little high on their own fumes, but I mean, some people just lose Dota games. Like sometimes you just fucking lose a Dota game. There's not a lot to it besides that. Like EG, if you watch like True Sight or whatever, they're like, yeah, we like we lost to, like, we made these two mistakes and the game was over. That's just sometimes how it goes. So I mean, yeah, they're a really good team, and I think that you would be. You know, it's like if you know that you have like a 70% chance of winning some gamble, you would be stupid to not take the gamble, regardless of, I mean, you know, opportunity costs and all that shit. But like basically, if you're like, hey, if you give me $5, there's a 70% chance I'll give you $10 back. Mathematically, you would be dumb to say no, unless, you know, losing $5 would get you killed for some reason. I mean, that's just what you do. And I feel like it's the same with Virtus Pro. Like, yeah, it was probably smart to think that they were going to win, but sometimes, you know, 30% chance comes up instead of 70, and that's, you know, kind of what we get a lot with Virtus Pro. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of teams, the favorite is not always going to win.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes. I mean, hell, you're talking to a poker player. I'm with you all the way there. I mean, that's why you place the smart bets where you can place them. Yeah. I guess I'm hoping. And I say this admitting fully that like I've become a DC fanboy over the last year. I fully have. I like the idea of this upstart. I don't know. I like the idea of this upstart organization coming in and kind of proving themselves, and at the same time also being an NA Dota team. Because I figure if I'm going to be nationalistic or patriotic about anything, it might as well be a Dota team. You know what I mean?
Nothing says NA Dota like 4 Europeans and a Canadian.
All right, fair enough.
I was thinking of NA Dota as an American Dota, which is why I said Canadian, but no, Moon is as NA as anyone. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's right. And then of course, Newbie and Wings are kind of like arch rivals in a way, right?
Yeah, the kind of the two best teams in like Chinese Dota, and the fact that they really don't have any of those like old Chinese superstars, I feel like puts them in a little bit of like a how to say, they're in like a similar class, right? Like they're both kind of like a break off from like traditional Chinese Dota. There's no like, right. It's not like Burning or Zhao Wei or their captains or whatever. There's this dude like U9 and SCCC. So I really like that about them, that they are the kind of like the new blood, like whatever CDEX started, like these guys are finishing. And of course, I mean, what is this team? Newbee, they have Faith, right? Like it's not like they don't have anyone, but for the most part, you know, like Faith is the only person I would call like an old school Chinese Dota player on any of these teams, or on either of these teams rather. Right.
I mean, so it doesn't surprise you that Newbee, or it does surprise you rather, that Newbee managed to beat Wings. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Oh no. I mean, they're both like really good top tier Chinese Dota teams, and they're both similar in that they don't use any of this old school Chinese talent outside of Faith, just one person. So, I mean, I'm glad that they're the new two top tier teams. Like it's cool.
Yeah, and that Newbie Wing series went to the game 3 as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was a good series.
And then, of course, DC and Newbie ended up facing off in the grand finals, which I almost wish I hadn't looked at any of this. And I kind of wish I would have watched it, because it went to a game 5.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was good. That was like a really, really good series. I enjoyed it a lot.
That never happens in finals matches, I feel like. I feel like I feel like it's been... I can't recall a best of 5 that I saw go to a game 5 watching Dota. I can't off the top of my head do it. I know that it was resolved in game 4 at TI. I want to say it was resolved in game 4 at Boston as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I feel like game 4 is usually where it goes to. So to see it get tied up like that had to be, that final match had to be one of the best Dota games to watch, right?
Well, the final match, not, I mean, like as far as excitement for who's going to win, but I mean, just all the matches were pretty good. I think there was one in particular I'm not really remembering that was like just fucking incredible. But yeah, I know there was at least one match in like the final 4 matches, because I watched a lot of this like while I was in bed, and like I was like, all right, I'm gonna stay up and watch this Dota, and then I would like, because I can only sleep facing a wall, if you want a fun fact about me, so sometimes I would just like turn around facing the wall, just like listening to whatever like Toby or Gods are screaming at me, and I was like, I have a sense of what's going on. So that's how I absorbed some of the matches, but these ones I was able to enjoy to their fullness.
So I want to drill down to this one just a little bit, because
okay.
It opened up in game 1. Newbie managed to defeat DC, which had to have made DC's victory all the more exciting, that Newbie came out and took that game 1.
Yeah.
They did it with a Slardar, Disruptor, Lifestealer, OD, Sand King combo.
Yeah, that's about as meta as you can get. Having a Slardar, Lifestealer, and then Disruptor is being picked a pretty good amount. I liked him last few patches too. It's fine. But he just kind of like gives you that team fight, and then they have like a Sand King. I think actually, did they do Sand King support and Slider offlane here? I don't exactly remember, but they did some kind of weird stuff with their lanes. No, I think that was a different game. But anyway, yeah, it's like pretty fucking standard. And then they're against like a Shadow Fiend and a Legion and a
they did. Slardar was off. Lifestealer safe. Sand King safe. Disruptor safe. Yeah, so they did a tri-lane.
Yeah, they did the support Sand King. Okay. Yeah, and I mean this
game 1, and then
this is just like how the fucking patch goes, right? Like they just had 4 tanky heroes and a Disruptor, and then the enemy team had some kind of tanky heroes, but they didn't have enough team fight damage to outdo Newbee's incredible team fight damage. So that was the game.
Were we seeing a lot of, so in that first game, the notable picks, at least as far as I'm concerned, from DC were we saw Pudge. I feel like I used to never see Pudge, and now Pudge is the talk of the town.
Yeah, Pudge is a good hero, Pudge. Man. He's really good, but you need to pair him with, like, it's okay to pair him with to pair him with not Lifestealer, Rubik, because Rubik can get a lot of steals, and that can make up for, like, you know, because Pudge doesn't fill out a specific niche in your team outside of just like getting the hooks and kills. So you need a support to accent him that has like a lot of ability to take care of things. Like Pudge Disruptor is pretty good. Like Disruptor is really good at filling out in any kind of like team fight composition. It's an AoE. It's like an AoE disable, and it's, you know, team fight ulti damage, and it's got some pickup stuff, so that's cool. But you just have like Rubik, so Rubik like needs to get a bunch of good steals, and then they have this like Legion. So like, where does their damage come from if their offlaner is a Legion, right? Like their 4 is a Pudge and their offlaner is a Legion. They don't have any real damage unless Shadow Fiend is in the middle of 5 with an ulti.
They ran the Juggernaut off lane.
I think it was just like an aggro thing.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I mean, who was playing it?
Right. I got you. And then do we see a lot of Shadow Fiend?
We've seen a decent amount of Shadow Fiend. Not a ton. He's not exactly proving his worth, but he's definitely a good hero. Like Shadow Fiend is definitely a really strong hero, but I don't think people have found quite the right way to draft him yet.
Gotcha. So game 2 DC, it looked like a long one, 52 or 53 minute long game.
Yeah, where a Naga just eventually became a Naga.
Yeah, I was gonna say they Coddle, Naga, Rubik, Legion again, and Ursa, and it looks like they managed to at least crack that Slardar Morphling combo from Newbee.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was good. Also notable, the last game, they did have the Rubik, but they had Rubik with the Slardar, so they could just amp damage someone and then glimpse them back whenever. That's like, Disruptor's not that great, but if you pair him with Slardar, he's super good.
Oh, that's brilliant usage of glimpse.
Yep.
So, I mean, anything notable about game 2 you want to talk about? I
mean, I like the idea you get someone like an Ursa to carry you through the early game. And then your Naga just is a Naga, and that's the game. That's it.
So game 3, we had Newbee come back to take it. So it was 2-1 in Newbee's favor after game 3. They won with a Luna, Underlord, Sand King, Witch Doctor, Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, that's right. Underlord, really fucking good hero. The Underlord is great. Pick that. He's a good one. That's a one that you should pick up for your team. Pick Underlord.
How much did we see a lot of Underlord at this tournament?
I think it was a mix of like some people not playing him. Like I feel like because of the Captain's Draft tournament where people were playing a lot of Underlord, he was actually a lot more incentivized to be picked. But we didn't really see too much of him. He was banned pretty much the teams that played him, it was banned all the time. But there were a lot of teams that didn't, and it took a little while for the meta to develop, so it wasn't like these earlier games didn't like really see him picked. Also, I feel like in the Dota buff stats for this, they don't have like the main tournament. It's a lot of the like qualifiers or whatever. So not the greatest stats to go by.
Gotcha. So DC comes back to tie it all up in game 4. They run Shadow Demon, Sand King, Lesh, Bounty Hunter, Slark, and Newbee does pick up the Underlord again, the Underlord Luna combo again there.
Yeah.
Hell, that team almost looks identical. Witch Doctor, they rounded out with an IO DK that time. Why did it fail why did Luna Underlord fail in round 2?
They had a Dragon Knight, which just didn't really make too much sense, and they had a Wisp against Sand King, which is pretty awful. Sand King's kind of his main thing is that he gets in there and he does a shit ton of like AoE team fight damage, right? And you can't really avoid him getting in there. And Wisp hates things that Wisp cannot avoid. Wisp has no interest in taking epicenters. So they have this huge magic damage lineup, right? Like you have Leshrac and even Slark. You have like Lesh, Slark, you have amp damage from from Shadow Demon, whose whole point is disrupting, so he's essentially someone who casts disruption, aka a disruptor, fuck you. And then you just have like track going around, so they just had a lot of easy abilities to get track gold, track up a Wisp, fucking Sand King comes in, takes that shit out, Slark's in the back line, and they really don't have anything great to do with their lineup, honestly. Like this Dragon Knight, like it's supposed to be this push lineup, but if DC gets a little bit of an early advantage with the Bounty Hunter, they can just like pick them apart.
Right. So game 5 rounds out that series with DC picking up Shadow Demon, Mirana, Centaur, Lifestealer, and Quap. And Newbee, Luna yet again, Sand King, Witch Doctor. I mean, that trio. Jesus. And then Ogre and Templar Assassin. What went wrong there?
I mean, this is a fine lineup. I'm pretty sure this was just like kind of execution stuff. Centaur did really well, which is very important. Like Centaur is a very good hero this patch. If you listen to, I think the Theory Craft we had last week was talking about how successful Centaur has been. And although we lost our abysmal last game, the Centaur did really well. And yeah, you see like Moon was like 9-4 or some shit. Like when your offlaner's doing that well. And then just like a Lifestealer went pretty much out of control. And you just have a Luna who gets ganked up a ton, and you have like Stampede initiations, and that's what's gonna happen. Like you can disrupt whatever Mirana's like going on, and Mirana against Quap is like a pretty even matchup, but the Quap can like just go around and kill motherfuckers while TA is trying to catch up. So.
Yeah, resolution 12-0-8 on that Lifestealer in that last game.
Yeah, so I mean, Lifestealer gets like as soon as Lifestealer has a big advantage, it gets real hard. Like Luna's kind of main deal is that Luna wants to have enough farm that she can actually tank up. Like Luna gets a bunch of armor. She has really good agi gain. She has less armor now. A lot of people aren't really thinking about the fact that Helm of the Dominator does not give you 5 armor anymore. So a lot of these Dom heroes who used to be really, really armor heavy, like Sven and Luna, actually have way less armor than they used to. Like 5 armor is a fucking big deal. And anytime, I'm sure most people don't actually look at how much armor they have at any point in the game, but a lot of the times I'm playing like Luna or something, and I looked, I was like, shit, I have 7 armor right now. Like this is not what I am used to on this fucking hero. And that's like a big part of why she's just not as good against Lifestealer as she used to be. Like someone gets up in Luna's face, Luna presses R. Someone presses R, fucking Lifestealer presses Q, and then Lifestealer kills them. So Luna's actually not good against Lifestealer anymore, which is like a huge change that people are still kind of getting used to.
Makes sense. So anything else you want to add about Genting before we move on?
Yeah, it was a good tournament. It's good. I liked it. I don't know. It's good.
Yeah, we spoiled the fuck out of it for anybody who might have wanted to watch it.
Yeah, don't watch an esports news show if you don't want to know what happened.
That's right. So should we move on to the? I want to talk about the newbie lineup, the new newbie lineup.
Okay, the new newbie
lineup.
Okay.
Right.
Shut up.
I'm sorry. Forgive me. So tell who the hell's on the new newbie team?
All right, so we've got good old Director 8, Zhao 8. He says, hey, there's a new DAC happening. Might as well try to collect some bank like you do. So he reformed. Basically, it's like a new big god, only with one less god on it. You have Zhao 8 playing carry for some fucking reason. And then Ferrari mid, which is, I mean, Ferrari 430 is like one of the best mids of all time, probably. I'd say like right after, I think it was like after TI4 even, people were still like, oh, are you watching these games Ferrari is playing? Like, he is by far the best fucking player like in the world. Maybe it was, no, was it right after? No, it was right after TI4 because it was Arteezy who was saying like Ferrari God and shit like that. So he's still a really, really strong player. He's just hasn't had a lot of success. A lot of that old Chinese talent stuff where like people try to build teams around these one player and that's like the team doesn't have much synergy and then they dissipate after a few months. So he's getting back into it with Zhao Wei, who he has some rapport with. So hopefully that'll go well. Zhao Wei can figure out a way to get Ferrari back and doing some good stuff. We have Chuan back in it. You know, old not Chinese. He's Malaysian, right? Yeah, he's Malaysian.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to get
that
that
Malaysian
wrong,
flag next to his name. I just confirmed.
Yeah. But I don't want to say like old school Chinese talent because he's Malaysian, which is why I brought that up. But I mean, he was on the IG roster with Ferrari when they won TI2. And he was on IG when they were doing incredibly around TI4, I think it was. Was it 4 that they were doing?
He was on. No, I thought it was it IG that he was on at TI4. I thought it was Newbie at TI4.
No, it was IG because they had this. Yeah, it was like.
Oh no, TI4. It was LGD
on TI4.
Yeah, at TI4. Yep.
Are you shitting
He was with
me?
LGD.
You fucking kidding me?
Yes, sir. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, man. What
He
was
was
that?
on LGD.
What was that when they were like fucking winning first places like nonstop? At TI at the International 2014, he was on IG.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at this the wrong way.
Fuck off.
I'm looking at the result, not the.
He was on. He wasn't on EG and then LGD and then Empire. No, he was IG. Close one though.
Yeah.
So
close.
So he's. I mean, it hasn't been too long since he's been like incredibly good, but he's taken a break. He's taken some time to like work on himself or whatever. And he's doing good. Then you have this, and so he's back working with Ferrari, and he's not even captaining. Zhao 8 is. So that'll be interesting, seeing him just kind of like chill, relax, not have to bear all the burden of captaining, because he's kind of known for being a rager. So maybe if he has that kind of that stress taken away from him, maybe he'll go a bit better as long as team dynamics. And then we have J9, which is not to be confused with Day 9. This is an entirely different human. No idea about them. They don't even have a Wikipedia page. Who gives a shit? I'm sure someone does. Sorry. And then we have the new hope, AXX, who is the first female Dota player to be picked up by a major organization for like, a team trying to compete in major tournaments and shit. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, so are there any other female Dota 2 players, kind of rotating around up in that like maybe semi-pro scene that maybe we just haven't heard of?
In the
you're aware
West,
of?
I'm not entirely sure. I've talked to some people who like are in amateurs, but they're like try to be pretty anonymous. And this is just like random people that like I've seen and like had a conversation with like on Reddit or what the fuck ever. Like just random people are like, oh yeah, this is how this is. But like obviously I don't want to like use my name or whatever, because I want people to know that like this thing and then track it back to me and think I'm like saying shit. So who knows about the relevance of that or anything. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that AXX is on the forefront, on the vanguard of this kind of thing. So it's cool. Looking forward to seeing how it'll be. If you remember the last big god, the only person they had on their team that wasn't a quote unquote god was Ice, who is now playing for Wings. So I mean, maybe this is a good way to get someone their ability to kind of like come into themselves as a player. Most notably, you have Zhao 8 playing carry and not offlane, which is one of the positions that he likes to play. He plays either supporter or offlane. So the fact that Ferrari is going into an entirely new position to highlight AXX and give her the ability to shine on her core position is good. It's like indicative that they're definitely like trying to play into these newer players' strengths and not just like, oh, we'll pick up this person and do whatever with them. So I'm really looking forward to this, because I mean, either Zhao 8 has a lot of confidence or he really wants to like highlight her play. So either way, I think it's cool.
Yeah. Do we know? So DAC probably the first time that we'll see Newbee Boss play.
I'm not entirely sure. It's not DAC isn't for a while, right? I mean,
so do you think we'll see them play sooner than
sure that? I mean, normally when teams form, they're playing within a couple weeks, at least in like qualifiers or whatever they can, scrims, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure we'll see news about it. It's going to be like very heavily. I mean, there's going to be a lot of talk going around this, right? And I'm sure Twitch chat's going to be like really enjoyable.
Or
that was sarcasm, like 100%. By the way,
I just making sure.
Yeah.
I
have Twitch chat off 98% of the time.
I can't imagine being a female player in the pro Dota scene, or even kind of on the outskirts of the pro Dota scene.
Well, let's hope that this changes it so that you can't imagine it.
That would be great. It would be fascinating to see. It's definitely. I don't know. Esports feels like the area where we should be, starting to see this, this gap be bridged between, co-ed, between like co-ed competitive scenes, right? I mean, I get why it's unlikely that we'll see it in traditional, sports in the real world. I get why we won't see that. a combination of politics and physical limitations, right? Biological restrictions. I get it, right?
Sure.
That happens. But esports, it feels like there should be no barrier. You know what I mean? There should be nothing that stands in the way of
pretty much
that.
all like societal.
Yeah, it's got to be completely cultural, and I feel like if that's
so like if as more like, I mean, the way it works is like you don't have as many female players or whatever, so if you don't see yourself represented, you're less likely to engage in a certain activity, and then it's like a vicious cycle. So like this is kind of like a starting, like the anomaly to break the cycle. So it's cool, it's good.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, and I'll definitely check out those games if for nothing else, and to throw a little support behind trying to get that barrier broken, that glass ceiling cracked, right?
Yep.
So any other big pro news that we need to get into that we still haven't touched on before we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah, your mic is like destroying me right now. You're like a robot.
Oh, I'm like a robot. You're like a robot to me.
Oh no.
It's got to be the interwebs out here. Out here in our fair state, it's
all right. Well, we got these local recordings
the
going on, so I'll just deal with Robo Cyphus and you'll deal with Robo Proud, and we'll be okay.
That's right.
We're suffering for the enjoyment. All right, yeah, we got a little bit more. There was like this new. So we have a new NA roster that we're gonna give a little bit of talk to. We have Doo-Wop, which is played by Yawar, notably Sumail's brother. Cool. 747, formerly of FDL, is now playing with Yawar, and then we have Sneaking playing the offlane. Sneaking, the name that just won't die, and Clairvoyance, who has been in and out of trying to play competitive Dota. Never really like broken through, but he's been a analyst for some teams, coaching a little bit. He's kind of like on the periphery, but he's a support player, so hopefully he does well. And then we have
organizations that we would know.
I want to say he worked with DC a little bit. Like playing for, he didn't really play for anyone super major. But yeah, I think he was with like Void Boys for a little bit. He's definitely like part of like a sneeze stack kind of thing. High Council of Wizards and Priests. I'm just kind of reading off the Team Liquid wiki, so all the information is available. But he's been around a lot. Yeah, and he casted with Join Dota for a little bit. Yeah, okay, so he was coaching C9 at TI4. That makes sense.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, and then you have Biryu, who was kind of, so within the wave of everyone just like, oh, let's pick up like these new cool players to like get new blood into our teams and do well. And like, OG picked up Miracle. CDEC like did really well. And then DC was like, oh, we'll pick up Biryu as our coach because we see a lot of potential here. And then they were like, damn, that did not work. So they picked up like, shuffled the team around, put Biryu as a coach. And Biryu was like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to like keep trying to play Dota. But now he's playing again. He's on Doo-Wop. So, hopefully he does well. He's like a young guy and he likes to captain. So, I'm in favor of more strong NA captains. So best of luck to them. Yeah.
I know nothing about him. I guess there's part of me that still wonders if coaches, I wonder about the effectiveness of coaches in Pro Dota sometimes.
Yeah, I think, it seems like they're like all the top teams have coaches, and they always speak really, really highly of their coaches. Like Bulba got like tremendous accolades as coaching. People really liked having T-Bun coach them. OG pretty much talks about Mad coaching them at every opportunity. So I imagine it's helping a shit ton. But we'll see.
Yeah. So what else you got on that roster list?
So we have FDL's new team, Stan King, great best friend of Theorycraft Thursday. Definitely the best.
That's right.
Biggest advocate for us. That's kind of a joke. Anyway, so they have Stan King's new team. You have Stan King as a support, JK aka Justin Roselle. I don't know if that's Justin as in Justin that was on Complexity. I'm pretty sure not, but just some dude named JK. SYC, I don't really know him. Mad, also don't really know him. And then we have CCNC, who I love. I love this boy. He is fantastic. His stream is great. He's great. Yeah, watch that dude stream. He's good at Dota 2. He played with Veggies when they got, I think, like second in the TI qualifiers or whatever. So it was good. Sorry, not the TI qualifiers. It was the open qualifiers for the major that Veggies was in. Veggies was not in the regional qualifiers. But anyway, yeah, CCNC, really cool, good stream, swell fellow. Yeah, watch his shit. That's I think that's most of like the pro. I mean, Genting happened, and that was the bulk of it. And then there's some roster swaps going on, right? New meta is pretty similar. Just a little bit more tanky heroes. Spirit Breaker is good. One thing, like Darkseer got picked up a shit ton, and Darkseer has been hella hyped right now, but he didn't actually do too great at Genting. But just running a like Spirit Breaker Darkseer as a combination is super good. I've been screwing with it a little bit with Skrunk on Darkseer and me on Spirit Breaker. Not as like a team thing, but just like for funsies. And we won with it, but the aggro tri-lane, I feel like we didn't play it quite perfectly. So that's not like you can just pick two heroes. You need to see exactly what they do to really get it down right.
Okay, well, then you want to do a little trivia before we wrap this thing up? A little non-Dota esports trivia?
Fine.
All right, fair enough. So this one comes from the world of first-person shooters.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Cyber Athlete Professional League?
Remotely, I think.
Okay, so
they all have such generic ass names, and they all pop up like once or twice a year. So sure.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So the Cyber Athlete Professional League, they were more active in the early to mid 2000s. They created quite a bit of controversy because at their 2005 World Tour Championships, they chose what first-person shooter where the plot involves destroying and killing as many monsters as possible over the more premier games such as Quake 3 and Counter-Strike at the time. Your options are...
options, great.
Yeah. A, Doom 3. B, Painkiller. C, Fear. Or D, Starship Troopers, the game.
Oh, shit. I want to say Doom 3.
You would be wrong, sir.
Was it Painkiller?
It was Painkiller. Painkiller.
Damn it.
A game I was completely unaware of before trying to do this little bit of trivia.
Yeah, no, it was going to be Painkiller. I wanted to say Doom 3 because like that is a game that has enough like backing that they'd be like, oh yeah, we want to do like the popular thing that has like a storied history. And like Painkiller's just like whatever.
Yeah, no, this caused quite a bit of controversy. One of the games that they just waited a little bit to announce what game they were going to choose for the 2005 World Game Tour. They could have chosen to do Doom 3, but no, they jumped the gun. They bet on Painkiller, which actually had a pretty interesting like history as far as their prize money. It pales in, or Dota, makes all of this feel kind of light in the long run. But they had a $510,000 prize pool for the CPL 2005 World Tour Finals.
Jesus. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
I mean for the time.
Yeah, oh for sure. And all of their qualifier tournaments, like they did a qualifier in Brazil, a qualifier in Chile, a qualifier in Italy, in Singapore. So they qualified people for the World Tour Finals, and each of those had their own $50,000 prize pool. So that tournament was probably well over $1 million in prize money, all said and done. It just took a lot longer to complete than most tournaments do. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Anything else you want to talk about before we kill this bad boy?
No.
All right, fair enough. Then I'm gonna plug us, of course, now that all the robot voices and stuff seem to go away, like right at the goddamn end of the show. If you guys want to find us, we're at defenseofthepatients.com. Email us, defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. Send in those questions for the Tuesday Q&A. Hey, it's not too early. You got a whole week, early bird gets the worm and all that good stuff. If you send it in now, better odds that we'll get to it, probably, maybe, kind of. You can always tweet at us at .p_show. I'm at .p_Cyphus. That's at pro-Dota over there. Who knows all the pro stuff? Send him your pro questions, not me. I'm learning. Like you, maybe. Right? Right, Proud?
Shut up, dude. Just do your job.
You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, all your favorite podcast apps. Leave us a review. Really helps with it helps give us better visibility on iTunes, which is, I think, the premier podcast app that everybody uses. But hey, leave us a review on any of those other podcast apps that you might be out there using. We'll try to find those and track those down at some point and do a read through of them. But any review you can give us really helps us, so we always appreciate that. Patreon.com/Defense of the Patience. Right now, if you donate $20, you can have Proud do a replay review for you. I need to go check the Patreon messages. I'll bet the folks have gotten back to me with their match IDs, and I probably need to get those to you guys right away because there's a 10-day expiration on them.
Yep.
So I'll do that tonight. We'll see those coming out soon. Ursi and Proud are real quick about getting them out, and they always do a good job. I think that's discord.gg/.p if you want to join the online Discord community. It's super active, always fun, always interesting. People post all sorts of cool videos. That behavior score video was really cool to see. I went in and got to check my own behavior score with the console commands. Really appreciated that. Yeah.
What'd you get, 7?
No, I was a 99 or like a 98-80. I think I was like 2 less than Ursi.
Yeah, well, I'm sure mine's probably higher than Ursi's.
You think you got a better behavior score than Ursi?
Oh my God, have you talked to him?
Yeah,
ever?
He seems like a pretty well put together and nice young gentleman.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's all right for a guy who's not 5K. Okay, he's all right for a guy who's not 5K.
I didn't say it. You did.
I'm gonna say it every week until he is again. It doesn't matter. I'm not even a 3K guy. All right, let's.
Yeah, I dropped 1 MMR. Played like 6 games. It was just win loss. Win 24, lose 25. Fuck.
It's painful.
Down 1, man. It's fine. I've got, I can play as much Dota as I want. Doesn't matter. I'm 5.1. I'm never gonna lose to 5K again. We broke through to the other side.
That's good to hear. All right. Yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for, twitch.tv/.ptv, youtube.com/.ptv1 is where you can find all of our YouTube videos, including episodes of the podcast like this one, the DotPro Show. Check out our subreddit if you want to leave some comments there, managed by Mr. Jay Gushi. Great fella. Keeps track of that for us. We always appreciate it. And that's going to be it, folks. You want to close her out since, this is your show. You should do the closing.
Yeah, why doesn't Jay Gushi have, like, a mustache?
Gushi.
Can we have, like, a fund to buy Jay Gushi a mustache?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that he's capable of growing one.
Well, I don't care. I want us to be supportive.
Okay, well, you know what? We'll get the ball rolling. I got $5 towards the Gushi mustache fund.
Yeah, we could call it the Goosh Stash. That would sound awful. It'd be very unappealing to everyone.
You heard it here, folks. Tune in next week for the updates on the Goosh Stash fund.
Oh, God, that's gross. All right, well, this plan is aborted. All right, well, that was the DotPro Show. We give the pro news. If you got any... anything that we didn't cover, feel free to tweet me at tweet. There's a lot of news that's going around, some things people don't know about. For instance, J9 or whatever, aka Not Day 9, is apparently one of like the wealthiest people in China, or the son of one of the wealthiest. He's got a ton of money, and he's really try hard at Dota just because he loves the game. So awesome. If you want to be incredibly overprivileged and have a ton of money and just play video games all day, maybe you too can be a successful esports athlete. Hell yeah. So that's that. Let's capitalism.